I find it freestyle. I lose my self-confidence.
Welcome back. After a long hiatus, we actually had to get back to work.
Hey.
It is Left, Right, and Blue.
Hi. Tim, Russ.
Right, we're doing
Happy New Year.
a song.
Oh, okay. Is this where we're running the credits and we get to talk about each other?
No, that's at the end.
You're right.
Welcome back to Left, Right, and Blue. I'm Tim.
I'm Russ. Hi, guys.
We had a good holiday.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We took some time off. We were supposed to come back for a Christmas special, but I got sick.
And then I got sick.
And then Christmas came, and we
Which got me
decided
sick.
to just wait.
Yeah, we hung out.
So we had a good New Year's, and did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, everything was great.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Did you get anything good?
I think I need to engage in some self-reflection because almost half of my gifts were related to alcohol. I don't really know what people are trying to say.
And a lot of my gifts were related to meat.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know what people are trying to say. So we can blend them, although you don't need to meat too much.
Alcoholic,
Have cheese.
caveman.
So let's start with our alcohol of the day.
Oh boy.
So I came upon this because I was cooking, and it required.
Oh, you had a
this.
recipe. Okay.
And as you know, when you use alcohol and you're cooking, you gotta like grab a sample here and there. And I wanted to drink it like
it's
two of
actually
them.
in the cooking instructions.
Yeah, to drink like one.
Yeah,
You gotta use one and then drink one.
Right.
So this is Stella Artois
Right.
Cidre.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Cidre. Yeah, it looks like they
Little
underlined
cider.
the R-E.
It's cider. It's European style cider.
Okay.
And Gordon Ramsay recommended it for
Did he really?
one of his recipes that I was using.
Okay.
And,
With all your meat.
Yeah, with meat. And I've been using it in barbecue.
Oh yeah.
Like as instead of apple cider, I've been using this.
Okay.
Because it's just really good. So,
We're
I
gonna
mean,
try it.
it's just, it's like a higher end
Cider.
cider. Woo! And I like the hard ciders, for the most part. They're all right. This just is really good.
Ciders for a while were like ridiculously popular. What's going on now is all those like sparkling waters, whatever the heck those things are people are drinking.
The seltzer.
Oh, the seltzers. Those are
Seltzers.
yeah.
I can't do them.
I
They're too
can't get
weak.
Yeah,
It's
and
like water,
sweet.
with like a little bit of alcohol. I don't know. It's
I was
alcoholic
actually
water.
talking to the bartender down the street from my home. I was in a local water and hold area, and they had a refrigerator, which half the fridge was like a really good quality mix of beers, and then the other side was all these seltzers. And the bartender told me that they're actually selling more seltzers than they are beer in the bar at this point.
That's strange.
That's great. It's crazy. But, all right, but here we go.
Let's try it.
A little bit of cider, a little Cidre.
Cidre, European cider.
Oh, that's got a neat smell. Oh.
That's good. That's good. It's a little tart, but not too much. What do you think?
It's not real sweet, which
No.
I like.
No, and that's why
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, this
Because it's not a lot of.
would fall into my category of like lawnmower beers. Like when you get them mowing the lawn and you're all hot and sweaty and you want to throw something back.
Yes, that's how I've been drinking.
This is a lawnmower beer right
Yes,
there. Yeah.
I've been drinking.
I'm
this
gonna guess the
after-
alcohol on this is less than 5. It's probably about a 4.5.
There you go.
Yeah, let me see if I'm right. Maybe I'll look really good on YouTube and see if I get this right.
I just like the taste of it.
4.5.
Is that what you said?
Yes, you are welcome. Play back the tape if ever you want. There you go.
Tap yourself
It's a
on the back.
4.5. European style cider. I want to say that there's almost. I'm picking up something else in there besides the apple. I want to say there's maybe pear,
goat urine. I don't know. I taste. No, it's good.
the apple's great.
I just taste apple.
Yeah,
but it's there's not a lot of sugar.
It finishes clean, so it's got a
it's not
the palate.
It's not that. You don't have that phlegmy, cheap cider.
It finishes very clean.
Yeah, and it ain't
crispy.
Cheap.
Yeah,
so you're getting a little better quality.
Yeah, it's
cider.
pretty good stuff. No doubt.
No, I think it's called cider.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Well,
with cider, it's just with like theater.
Yeah,
still the sound.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, fair enough.
So, yeah.
But if we're gonna call that cider, don't we have to call the parent company Stella Artois?
Or toys.
Our toys.
Or tweez.
Stella, if you have any input on this, to let us know.
I'm sure they're not going to like
spelling this or pronouncing this correctly. We would appreciate
dropping our sponsorship.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit about what's going on. If you unless you live under a rock,
there's been a couple things happening.
Yeah, but the main thing, which I have to admit, I really
enjoy.
No, I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to. I have enjoyed a little, but yeah.
Yes.
Is the House being House Republicans unable to secure Kevin McCarthy as the Speaker? Yeah. And I guess my first question to you is, because as we know, the last time this happened was in 1923. So it's been 100 years since this has ever happened. What do you identify as? I have your dog fur on my face. Oh, excuse me. I'm like,
I don't know what you're doing with my dog, but knock it off.
So Tim says to me before the show, he goes, "You got to watch it that you don't say too much." So I'm being really careful not to say it, but now I feel like I'm touching my face.
So viewers at home, you can play a drinking game every time Russ says
a little over under.
Every time he says enjoy some Stella Artois cider.
So I'm just curious, like, what do you identify as the problem?
Sorry, something different.
Bring up the LGBT stuff right out of the gate, aren't you? We can talk about that.
Listen, I'm torn because I like the fact that they want a little change. They get this small group of 20 people have the courage to stand up to your typical political bureaucratic politician, McCarthy.
Right.
All right. He caters to money. He caters to the lobbyists, so he's easily persuaded with money.
Okay.
That's what their biggest beef is. They don't want that. They want him to not cave to different groups.
Okay.
But on the other end, if they had somebody in mind, they should have been preparing for this.
Right.
So I don't like the holdup.
But don't you acknowledge, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but don't you acknowledge that some of the worst representations of the Republican Party are some of the folks that are holding this up? Like some of the most extreme right, some of the most media grabbing, some of the most, I'm just going to say something profound so people talk about me on television. If this is serious, right? We currently, for the first time in more than
some of them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's only 20. There's 20.
I understand that.
And like
some of them
Lauren
are the ones.
Boebert is one of them. Matt
whatever.
Gaetz stood up on the floor and nominated Donald Trump. For Speaker of the House.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so like this is not.
But that's what I'm saying. I think I understand the message they're sending. I think, and I'm confused and I'm torn if they're just sending the message to McCarthy, or do they legitimately want to pick a new speaker because they don't have anybody in mind. If they truly wanted a new speaker other than him, they would have had somebody ready to go.
Right.
So I think this is more of a message and a bargaining chip. They're going to bargain with him to try to get him away from the center a little bit and bring him.
I appreciate that perspective.
This is what I'm hoping.
But here's where I'm going to go I wish you were right, but I don't think you are. Yeah, what I think is going on is that the party as a whole in the past several months, and we've seen this in polling, right? So 6-8 months ago, everybody was Trump, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be fading,
Sure.
right? But in that window of time, your Lauren Boeberts, your Matt Gaetz's, who's the blonde lady that always says the crazy stuff on the, like the craziest Republican. What is her? You guys help me. You know what I'm talking about. Her name is 3 words. Bang, bang, bang. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's another one. These folks got into your party. These folks that like no one really takes very seriously.
They're the equivalent of the AOCs, I think.
I understand that
Nobody
perspective.
takes
I
pictures.
don't agree, but I understand the perspective.
They're always in front of the camera. They're always saying things that are not necessarily the best things to say, and they're not really helping their party. Just like the squad.
Well, I mean, I think that I don't want to get off topic, but
I'm just saying,
yeah.
They are the extremes on each side.
But what's going on now is what I perceive is almost like a Republican existential crisis. Like we spent an entire 4-year cycle raising up the god of the Republican Party, Donald Trump, you know, and we can't.
When you say we were raising up, you're talking about the Republicans?
Absolutely.
Well, you tend to forget who raised him up originally was the Democratic media.
Oh, that is 100% correct.
Okay.
But once he got into place,
they didn't think he would get into place.
It, and I don't think you're going to argue with me. It became very cultish. Like it was very much not so much about the party anymore, but about the man, right?
And it was different. It was drain the swamp, you know.
Yeah.
And it was a fresh perspective as far as the Republicans.
Yeah, but I think we can all agree
to get these lifelong Biden type, McCain type politicians out,
right?
You know, and get some new blood in,
right? And then what happened?
To think a little.
And
more.
I initially, when I realized that Donald Trump might very well become the candidate for the Republican Party, not even when he.
And here's her cameo.
This is the dog
right
fur.
On top. Right
this
on
is the dog
top.
fur. Hi, honey. There was a part of me. I'm not gonna lie. There was a part of me that was like, oh, we're gonna bring up.
Stop making out with my dog.
We're gonna bring a businessman into the White House, and I had these images in my head of like, we're gonna streamline military costs, and we're gonna figure out a way to streamline healthcare costs.
Well,
and
everybody was interested in what he would do as far as a businessman. I think he did make us a lot of money. I mean, he got, and we're going off topic.
Yeah,
here,
but
his policies, Mexico paying for the wall and all that stuff. Well, we got Mexico to work with us. We got these other NATO countries to pay us back the money that we've been loaning them for years and years and years.
Right.
And years. So he did a lot of the things that he said he was going to do. But that's why he had that following. It was a drain the swamp. It was get rid of the typical politician. And they're still doing it. And those 20 are still kind of playing off of that.
But the part that I'm having
trying to drain the swamp, as with McCarthy, he is a typical politician that caters to the highest bidder, the lobbyists and the special interest groups.
But how can such a large group of people, like I feel like the Republicans don't have a backup plan. Like, what do you do?
Well, it's going to come down to they're going to have to cave because the 20 Republicans, if he's, and that's what they're doing, they're negotiating with him.
Right.
They're going to try to get him to concede to some of their wishes, and eventually they'll cave and vote for him because they have nobody else that really wants to.
Yeah. So what does that even do?
So all they're doing,
party?
Eventually it's going to start hurting them.
Them being who?
The 20. Because people are going to start getting mad. Their constituents are going to start getting mad at them for holding up the government.
Okay.
Because nothing can get done. I mean, these new congressmen can't even get sworn in. So nothing is going to be able to get done until they take care of this.
Yeah.
So eventually, they're getting some leeway right now because it's only been a few days.
Okay.
But eventually, I think if they don't make a deal, they need to cave, or it's just, they're just hurting themselves.
Yeah, I think this is not.
I think eventually McCarthy's going to get in with some deals that he's going to make, maybe putting them on committees.
I
and
mean,
things like
you
that.
you hope, but I
It has to
really
be.
think what has happened.
Because these 20 are going to get pressure from the
Right,
other 200 people.
Right, but I'm just concerned, honestly, this group of congressmen, House representatives, even local officials that ran on this kind of Trump, like, big lie.
Well, we are
kind of
definitely
thing.
seeing
And,
that.
yeah, like, so and all this stuff, and Republicans are now going, like, look, we have to acknowledge that Biden won the election fair and square.
Yeah,
Right, but the problem is that you have the Republicans going, this is a losing battle. We have to stop, because what's happening with the Republicans now, they are no longer, at least as of you and me sitting here right now, the Republicans don't so much have a platform. They have a complaint. In other words, everything is Biden's horrible.
of course they
the
have
wall-
platforms. What are you
Right,
talking
but no,
about?
but this is nothing we're hearing. It is
Everything.
Everyone that
The
comes
border,
on the television.
The taxes.
Right, but
It's
they don't
all-
talk, but it's in the presentation of a complaint. It's not in the presentation of how to fix it. So they go, the border's wide open, despite the fact that we've hired record number of border
No, that's
patrol agents.
MSNBC talking. It's not true.
It is factually correct that we
They're leaving in record numbers, and they're actually even committing suicide.
Oh,
in record
I'm
numbers
sure.
because they're understaffed. They're
Right.
being misappropriated.
I don't disagree with any
So
of that. I'm
so
just saying you
that
can't-
argument is wrong.
No,
It's-
but no, you
they're not
can't-
giving them more people to do their job.
No.
They're not letting them do their job.
That's a very broad statement. I'm just simply going, you can't.
When you have the border patrol individuals themselves
Right.
complaining
Oh,
about
I'm
the
sure.
situation,
Right.
that's called a clue.
No,
that
I'm
there's
not
a problem.
disagreeing that you take any
So,
large
Okay,
group.
well, they know how to fix it. They need to put the Trump plan back in
Well, I don't want to get into a
effect.
wall discussion with you.
It's
I'm
not just the
saying-
wall. Just let the border patrol do their job.
The point I was trying to make is that the current Republican presentation is complaints about what the Democrats are not doing. Right? So the borders.
But they still have
did-
plans of what they
Right.
could be doing.
If they do, they're not. That's not on the forefront.
They
of their
are
discussion.
talking about it. You just
All right.
gotta watch more than MSNBC.
Yeah,
because you're not gonna see
No.
any plans on those other channels.
Well, I find that
the
concerning.
Democrats
Right.
are in power and they're doing nothing. So what's the excuse for that?
I get that's again.
About the border,
Right. Well, again.
about crime.
Let's focus.
About the economy.
What is the topic we're
Do I
discussing
need
right
to
now?
stop? I'm just
All right,
saying.
yeah,
But you
so-
brought it up. How
No, I'm just
how
saying-
they keep blaming the
Right,
Democrats.
the current
and they don't have a plan.
Republican
They do have a plan.
platform appears to be, and when you see these people on TV, when you see them speaking on the House, when you see Matt Gaetz going, "I want Trump to be the Speaker of the House," like it is their complaints. Like I'm watching this. This isn't like I'm not watching. Some
Okay, but this is you're
left-wing-
watching it in context of they're
Of
trying
course,
to get
but
a new
you
Speaker of the
can't
House.
make the statement that simply because I'm not watching Fox News that everything I'm watching is inaccurate.
No,
and then
I'm
everything
saying
I'm
that
watching
you're not
is
seeing
false.
both sides.
And
I'm telling you, I am seeing the policies.
I don't believe that simply because I'm watching Morning Joe, right? Who Joe Scarborough, who spent the bulk of his life as a Republican,
Okay.
is not reflecting Republican ideals. This morning,
I've already proven this that
Right,
you're not
this-
seeing the entire story because
I-
you didn't
hold
even
on.
know.
I'm
about
not
the war.
saying that I'm not saying the entire story. I'm just saying that it's not absent from me.
Okay, well, they've on their campaigns. They've already spoken about how they need to put
Right. But
Pre-Biden
the point
policies into effect
is that
regarding that.
it does appear that there's a large number of Republicans that are not happy
sure
with this current Speaker of the House situation.
Of course.
Yeah. And
I think it's just a bargain chip. They just
Yeah.
they want to be able to get some of the things that they want.
right. Well, I mean, at the expense of what? You know, I mean, this is where.
That's the mystery.
And-
How long are they going to go?
Yeah.
Because
So,
McCarthy's already moved into his office.
which
he
is
doesn't-
interesting in and of itself.
No, he doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
Like, you just bought a house recently. Are you moving your stuff and the other people haven't left yet? Like, who are you?
Well, no, Nancy's gone.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. But what was the other thing you wanted to talk about? Because
you know what? Who's this? You know, his name escapes me. And prior to the show, we didn't talk about this. But who is the guy that they're now identifying? Like, just his entire resume was made up.
Oh, he's the New York.
Is he a senator?
No, he's a congressman.
Is he a congressman?
He didn't go to school, but it wasn't like his whole resume.
Dude, the guy said he was Jewish and he's not.
Listen, but he came out and admitted to it.
Oh yeah.
But here's the argument. Yeah, he's dirtball. I mean, he lied, right? But the thing is, though, they have record of Biden doing the same exact thing, and he still denies it.
It's not the same exact thing. This guy's entire resume. He lied about schools he went
So
to.
did Biden.
He lied about property he owned.
Biden lied about law school. He lied about situations he's been in. They were just going over
But
the thing
again,
is, here's the difference, though. He actually fessed up and said, you know what? I admit it. I lied
So it's just
on my resume to become a congressman.
So
and he's not right
if
for
we're
it.
going to
He's
talk
still
about,
wrong. But how about fess up and admit that you're like losing your mind a little bit, Joe? And my point is, you know, they all did it.
I don't
To an
know that
extent. I think he just got caught. Well, he just came out because they were getting close to finding out.
George Santos.
They called him.
There
out.
he is.
They called him out on it.
Yeah.
But this isn't freaking news. This is stupid.
He's a GOP congressman-elect accused of lying about his resume. And the question then becomes, and I think this is a valid question, and I really, what do you do when someone's been put in a position under
a politician lied on a
overt,
resume?
intent-driven lies?
They all do it, though.
Yeah, but you can't
They
just
all freaking
But
lie.
your answer to a straight question can't just be everybody does it. They're just all crooked.
I'm not saying
they just all.
I'm not
yeah,
saying
you know.
that he's right for doing it, but he didn't break any laws.
Right, but I'm not saying he broke a law. I'm just
So there's
going.
nothing
What
you
do
can do
you
about it.
do?
You treat him like a dirtball and say you're scum and leave it at that. And he has a lot of trust building. He's pretty much, his career's done.
Oh, gosh.
He's never going to get reelected.
Yeah.
But my point is, there's no law about making promises
Yeah,
or saying
it's
shit like that.
it's the
just the way it is.
it's Bill Maher with the
But
air
you
bud
know,
effect.
I blame the media because they're supposed to vet these people.
The media is supposed to
media.
vet?
Yes, the media is supposed to dig.
Well,
when you have a politician, you're supposed to dig and find dirt
I
and find out
just
all
don't
this stuff.
know.
Somebody should, because media journalists don't dig anymore. They don't go after us. They just rely on what's said. He probably was making a point. He's probably said, you know, I get away with saying anything because no one's gonna dig and find all this stuff.
Yeah.
Because people are lazy.
He's a Nassau County congressman.
Yeah.
So I mean, a little bit lower down the ladder. But I just go like, what?
All right.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
What? I don't even understand.
Hey everyone, we're back.
We're back.
More alcohol.
So, a little background on this. As I told you, my wife every year gets me this advent calendar of beer. It's amazing. And it comes with a bunch of beer that I've just never heard of. It's all like Bavarian and German. This is I'm not even going to try to say this. Langein? But that doesn't sound German.
Braui.
So there it is.
It has a pretzel.
Yeah, it has a pretzel. A very happy young lady holding a beer, but she looks like she's Asian. I don't really know what that means. She looks like she's Asian, so maybe someone wants to reach out to these guys.
Is it brewed in Germany?
Oh yeah. So
okay.
this is these all fall into the German purity law. So the only thing that's allowed to be in this is water, yeast, hops, malt, and that's it.
They gotta all taste the same. No?
Yeah, well, they do it in variant.
Yeah.
You use different hops, different malt, they have
Yeah, I
different
suppose,
flavor
but they're all
profiles,
pretty
all
good.
that stuff.
Alright, so what kind? Have you tried this?
This is
yet?
a Helles. I've tried other beers like this.
But you haven't tried this.
This one, no, I haven't opened it. Yeah, so
Let me see something. Hella Aufgrund.
yeah. So it's a Hell beer or a Helly beer. They are light, crispy, usually low alcohol lawnmower beers.
Hamburg, Germany.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's
So we're
drink
gonna
it.
bust this out, and this is a nice English pint, so it's a little bit bigger. It's only 5%. So feel free to just kind of go at it. It's gonna be crispy and clear and clean.
That's good. It's good.
Yeah, there's a lot of beer in this thing, dude.
No, but still.
Trying to get this sound, a little ASMR going on. There you go. So yeah, like take a sniff. It should smell a little. Should have a little stinky thing going on.
Yeah.
But
Gesundheit.
Gesundheit, yeah. Nice and crispy.
Very
clean.
German.
Yeah.
Tastes like St. Pauli girl.
Tastes like a St. Pauli girl. Yeah. Okay, I haven't had one of those in a hot minute, but yeah, I'll accept that answer.
I like it.
Yeah, pretty
It's
good.
only
Right?
4% though.
5.
5.
Yeah,
Okay.
5. It's as if Budweiser decided to be good. So we'll put that guy like right here. There you
Alright,
go.
it's not bad.
Yeah, I like
good.
it.
I
Yeah.
like German beer. It
So
seems
yeah,
like a pretty basic German beer though.
yeah. So we're back.
So we got some non-political topics that we're going to talk about.
Yep.
Russ hasn't been following that murder suspect
No.
that killed the 4 college kids, stabbed them. But they found this guy, and people have been getting frustrated because the police haven't been revealing any leads.
Right.
But they haven't. They
Okay.
just were keeping it quiet. I think they didn't want to spook this
Now
guy.
to keep in mind, for those of you who don't know, Tim is former law enforcement, so I'm curious about his take on this.
Yeah, so I get involved and interested in these brutal murders, and it pisses me off. And this guy's a typical psychopath. I mean, he's not proven; he's alleged, but there's a lot of evidence that's coming out. The coolest thing is though, they couldn't find the murder weapon, but they had the sheath. He left the sheath.
Okay.
Okay, and so they took DNA from the cover of the knife, the sheath.
Brian Christopher Kohlberg.
Yeah, that's the suspect.
Yeah, Kohlberger.
He was arraigned today.
Okay.
So they took the sheath. Now this is cool. You listening?
I'm listening to every word you're saying. I'm just pulling this guy up.
DNA off of the sheath. Okay. Now, what they did was they worked with companies, DNA companies like
Right.
Ancestry.com, and they took that DNA and they worked backwards. Okay.
Mhm.
So they started in the past. Like, you know how you get your past
Yeah.
from
Sure.
Britain, and they work closer and closer and closer. And then when they found like all these names of people that this mystery person is related to,
All right.
they took those names and then they went one by one and looked at them and see if there's any connection to the list of suspects or people that they had in their file
And
from the murder. And then they found a connection or a couple connections. And then they found this, and then they went to his car, and then that's when they got the warrant for his car. And then the FBI pulled him over and to look at his hands.
Yeah.
And then they got to go into his apartment where they matched the DNA.
And apparently,
Isn't that cool? That is
insane.
amazing.
DNA plays a role in finding the suspect source.
But they did it in reverse order.
Yeah, that's
So it's, normally when you get your DNA checked to these companies, they have they know you, and
Right.
then so you work back to history.
insane.
They worked from back the history
And they're still
forward,
looking for the weapon.
and then connected it with all the people that were related to him, but they still didn't know that guy, so they just matched the list to their suspect list.
I'm curious.
That's how they got him. It's amazing.
Where do you stand, or what is your take on justice for families? A community feeling like we have reciprocity and consequences for behavior, and then just
This is getting really deep.
mental health. Where does that fall in? And where do you, as someone who's worked in law enforcement, where do you draw a line?
Well, you're talking about two different things. You
I'm
said
trying to, yeah.
mental health of the problem with mental health?
No, let's say this individual.
Yes.
Does this person's mental health status, should it or come into play? Now, I don't know that much about this guy. I mean, he's got mental health. And we have to be careful because we tend to, whenever we hear about horrible things happening on the news, we tend to apply a mental health component. You hear people say, oh, we have to improve mental health services and we need it. So I want to be
What's your
careful.
question?
Should mental health play a role in the consequences of someone who's charged with these types of crimes?
You mean like, should they get leniency?
Should they be found accountable? Should they be found responsible?
Yeah, of course.
Well, I don't know.
But you can't use that as an excuse.
No one's saying excuse. I'm not saying that. I'm saying,
You say not hold that person, this guy accountable.
I'm not saying this guy particular. I'm saying,
technically anybody
right,
who kills somebody has a mental health problem.
right. But and maybe I'm answering my own question, but the pushback to that will be that most mental health diagnoses do not have in their like DSM criteria or description of the illness a capacity to murder or commit crimes.
But the thing is, though, they need to reevaluate HEPA law and they need to reevaluate juvenile law because a lot of these people, especially the mass shooters, when you say, "Oh yes," they find out so and so's the killer. They're like, "Yeah, I can see it."
Right.
They all say the same thing. They never say, "Really? I would have never." It's always the same thing. Yep. He used to pull the wings off of spiders and flies and kill little puppy dogs when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Well, that's called a clue, you know.
Yeah,
But because they're juveniles, you know, they get in trouble at school. They do things that are suspiciously odd that could fall. They could even get mental health treatment once it's expunged. It's confidential.
Well,
they can't use that. But that should be a red flag that if it continues, they gotta nip it in the bud somehow.
So
early.
what you're talking about is in some way, and maybe I'm mishearing you, but so clarify me if I'm wrong. What you are saying is in some way there should be a legal intervention prior.
No, not a legal. Well, define legal. A mental health intervention, like a red flag of some sort,
right.
A monitoring criteria. Like it shouldn't just end. Oh, they turned 18, they're done. It's a brand new start.
Yeah, so
it needs to continue.
That is valid. So
like they shouldn't be able to get a gun. Like if you have mental health issues as a juvenile,
right?
You turn 18, they can't even see that.
Right.
So that this person can get a knife, they can get guns, they can do whatever they need.
Yeah,
So it needs to continue. Certain things,
I mean,
if they get evaluated, it needs to continue on. And with this guy, we don't know, but it's coming out that his friends, classmates, they all say the same thing. He was odd, and I understand that that's not a crime.
Yeah.
But it is. If it goes back far enough, if you find things that he did that was
right. But I'm going to ask a question that I really don't know that you know the answer to, and I tell you right now, I don't. But my question is, how many kids display those same behaviors and never do anything, right? So like when we can go this guy had this background and he had, whatever, he was into crazy demonic stuff and swastika painted on his walls and was into violent music and violent video games and posted anti-American stuff on the internet.
But I'm not talking about non-actionable activities. I'm talking about things that were done.
Right, no, I'm in complete agreement with you. Like,
but that's not like just having a swastika collection, although creepy and weird.
So let's use your example. Let's use your example.
Crime, but if this person was doing crimes, committing crimes, was doing hate crimes as a juvenile,
right?
You can get arrested and on hate crimes as a juvenile,
Correct.
be arrested as a juvenile, and then you're
Then on
like
your 18th
golden.
birthday, it's like it's all gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And your brain, their mindset doesn't change like that.
Right, but the implication there is, and if I use your example, let's just pick a number, 12, 13, 14-year-old kid who is abusing animals, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What percentage of those children, and I'm sure there's plenty of them out there.
I'm sure there's a study. And
like what percentage of those folks at the age of 12, 13, 14, and let's say they get all the proper mental health and behavioral interventions required, everything of it, they get all that stuff delivered to them. What percentage of those people grow up to be relatively normal functioning members of society, and what percentage of those people grow up to be deviants and criminals and rapists and murderers and stuff? I don't know. I don't either, but I mean, that's a question I would want to know.
Because what's your verse
implying?
though? Take the people that are arrested,
right,
and see what their childhood was like.
Yeah, but no, but that's
okay. Because
yeah, but how do you intervene on that though?
But that's what I'm saying. You can't. It's not Minority Report. You can't
Right.
like see the future.
Right.
But you can have a little red flag by them. So if they do have this record as a juvenile and they try to get a gun, they need to do a little more. They maybe need to go to
There might be an extra step required.
couple steps,
Yeah,
and they need to go to a medical facility, a mental health facility.
Well, at the very least, could there not be
interviewed or something like that?
Could there not be, like, if you are attempting, because you don't have to own a gun, like, for example, right?
Right.
You don't have like this. It's like your driver's license. You don't have to have it.
You have a right to own a gun,
Right?
but you don't.
But should certain people maybe have a
you
couple
can-
extra steps?
But you can, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
your
think that's-
right can be revoked
Yeah.
for certain reasons. Okay. So
maybe there's a thing that can be done, and I don't know where it is.
it just needs some more steps in the mental health area between
Yeah.
juveniles. I'm a teacher, so I see some crazy things that are happening
yeah.
as kids.
Right.
But as soon as they turn 18, they're
This
not
is
getting any better.
No,
You think these kids that are doing these crimes, these young college age kids that are doing these carjackings and things like that, do you think they were like model students?
No. No one's saying that.
But my point is though, there's a mental health problem there. They can't see right from wrong. There's something there that they're not. It's not clicking.
Okay. Well, again, I'm going to push
I'm
back
saying-
on you a little bit. So, like, I don't know.
There's a cultural thing to it, and there's also a socioeconomical thing to it.
Yeah.
But there's also a mental health thing to it.
Potentially.
You can't determine what's right or wrong, and you have no disregard for hurting or killing another human being. That's a mental health problem.
So, if you are dealing with a kid like I do, that has never actually been either directly taught or shown right from wrong, right?
Okay.
So,
but you can't, again, it's a crappy situation.
no, but I'm asking
And
you.
I feel for the person, but there's still, ignorance is not an excuse.
I'm not suggesting they're ignorant. What I'm saying is that you made the statement that someone not knowing right from wrong and someone not having a moral compass has a mental health problem.
If they keep going with it,
Right,
if they
so
take it to the level
my
of murdering
question
or
is
violently attacking
could-
somebody.
Could someone of average mental health, average intelligence, average social IQ, like a middle of the road person that's just never really been exposed to a sense of right and wrong, they've never been presented with
Consequences.
or just proper guidance, like just
But still,
typical-
they still should know that.
But my question would be,
This
so
is right, this
is
is wrong.
senses of right and wrong, is that an innate, and maybe we don't have enough weed right now to have this discussion,
Or time.
but is that innate to the human organism? Do humans innately have the same sense of right and wrong? And I'm going to argue no, right? I think that what's right and wrong is cultural. I think what's
learned.
right and wrong, by learned, I mean it's cultural. It's what you learn in your culture, right? So there are things, in 2023 right now, there are behaviors in other countries that are considered normal in those countries that we would never tolerate. There's behaviors in this country that would not be
Okay,
tolerated in
but-
other countries.
But it's still the law. You can't be ignorant of the law.
No one's saying ignorant of the
No,
law.
you are. Because if you, for example, say in other countries it's okay to throw acid in a female's face.
Right.
Okay? Which it is in some of these countries.
Well,
You know,
not really, but yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
you know, they can kill their daughters if they,
Yep.
you know.
But go ahead, make your point.
You can't do that here, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
If you do it and say, "Oh, I'm from there,"
No, but if we're talking
that's
about,
not, but that's still a mental health problem.
But if we're
because you
talking
don't
about-
know that that's wrong.
but if we're talking about prevention, the discussion is not what do you do after the fact.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
talking about doing it before.
Right. So my question
Finding
again comes
flags,
to,
getting them.
if someone has just never been properly exposed to a sense of right or wrong,
Okay.
if someone's just been constantly presented,
Yeah, but it doesn't happen. I mean, this guy is an exception. He doesn't have a record.
Mhm.
Okay, that doesn't mean that there hasn't been other things. You know, most of these cases where people are violent or murderers,
right?
they've done other things,
You're correct.
and if they still don't learn,
Most
and
people-
they're still hurting people. They're still,
right.
you know, there's something wrong. You can't just he didn't know. That's not. You gotta have consequences, and they gotta be taken away from society.
I don't disagree that certain people meet certain criteria to just not be freely moving around in the community.
It is
Right.
more. It should be more.
There should be yeah.
taken off the streets because it's.
But then you get into civil liberties, personal
Yeah,
rights.
see,
There's a
but,
lot.
you know,
I
because
don't think
you
it's
know
that
what?
simple.
It is simple because when you do certain things, you lose your personal civil rights.
But that's a consequence. So what I'm saying is what you're talking about.
Okay, but you're taking two different issues here. I'm talking about doing both. I'm doing because you're gonna just those mental health issues you're gonna slip through the cracks like this guy, and then you're gonna have people that commit the crimes. Once they commit the crime, though, that's it.
No, I think most of us are on the same page when it comes to at least like this gentleman who, if is found to be true that he in fact did kill these 4 college
And
students.
this is an extreme.
Right, but let's
He's
just
gonna
say,
go away.
I mean, yeah, I think most people, and I'm not getting into a death penalty discussion or whatever, but most people agree this person should no longer be just walking around amongst us.
But I'm talking
There will
about
be some,
the homeless person that is walking around talking to themselves, spitting on people.
right?
They need to be because today it's spitting, tomorrow it's slicing somebody's throat.
Right. Oh, I see. I don't know that you can make that jump. I mean,
Well,
I think, and again, the
There's-
question becomes,
there's
what do
something
you
wrong
do?
with them.
I agree.
They need to be taken off, yes, and get mental health treatment.
Right, but I just
off
don't
the
think.
street. Now, if they find the doctors, trained physicians, and psychologists find that they're just it was random or
But what if
they're
the
okay,
person-
and then they put them
Right. So let's take
they
the
gotta,
guy.
you got to prove yourself.
The guy walking down the street, talking to himself, staring up at the sky and screaming and yelling and spitting.
on
Right.
affecting other people's
Well,
lives.
if you're spitting on other people, that I believe
Assault.
is criminal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that case, but
I'm not talking about just acting like a goofball.
I
I'm
know exactly
talking
what you're referring
affecting
to.
other people.
But I'm just saying, like, you're potentially talking about hundreds of thousands of people.
At this point,
And
yeah.
my question realistically is, what do you actually do? We already have a problem in this country with just homelessness of
Well,
normal functioning people.
they need to have
Right? So, like, what do you
places that they can voluntarily go. You have a choice.
Well,
you go here or you go here.
do? Right. Well, that's not
You go-
voluntary. So voluntary means like I can choose to do something or not choose to do anything at all.
I'm saying you give them a choice of 2 things that they can choose to do.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be on the street anymore because you did this.
Right,
and this.
but there is
So you're
no.
either gonna go to jail or you're gonna go to this institute or you can go to this
Right,
camp
but
out in
I
Wyoming.
can't even
and
imagine
whatever.
the funding associated.
They've already talked about this. Some of the things and the plans that they have for building these institutions, like they used to have, is cheaper than throwing all the money into these homeless tent cities and
Right.
cleanup and all the after effects. It's crazy.
I don't know. I don't disagree that it's a little.
We're way off topic.
Yeah, we
from
got
this
a little
guy,
off, yeah.
But
So-
I wanted to point out one more thing
Sure.
with this guy. They found his cell phone. That the night of the murder, he was nowhere to be found.
Right.
It did 12 other instances. He lives 20 minutes away.
Okay.
There was 12 times that his cell phone pinged cell towers around that house.
Okay.
Before and a couple times after the murder. So he was stalking these girls.
Oh, okay. All right. So we think he was
12
fun.
times. He came out of his Washington State University area to this. He had nothing to do with this campus.
Is this guy looking like he's one of the incel crowd?
Incel.
Involuntarily celibate incel?
Oh, I don't know.
Pissed off guys at girls because they can't get
Possibly.
their dick wet?
Seems
Like that crowd?
He's a loner.
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
has no evidence. He said he never had a girlfriend.
And
things like
that's
that.
another topic for discussion.
And that's another.
And I will send a little teaser out to that right now. So they have done research on this stuff now, right? And they've looked at historical minimal standards for women in men. Like, what was your standard in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, right? And the minimum standard for women has exponentially gone up.
And breathing?
No.
The other way.
Like you have to make $150,000 a year. You have to be this height, this color, and the blame for that, they're saying, is
pornography.
No, dating websites. The average dating website, for every woman on the website, there's like 85 guys, right? Trying to meet this woman. So
my wife.
Yeah, so the average woman on there is being exposed, and these swipe left, swipe right. It's only about 2 to 3% of the men on these sites that the women are swiping right? So what's happening is there's this entire community of otherwise fine working guys that just don't meet this like elite criteria of 6 feet tall, perfect hair, perfect teeth, making 200 grand a year. This has been researched and proven that it is more difficult now for the average guy to date.
I don't know.
We'll talk about it if you want.
It sounds. I don't know. We don't have time.
Not today. I'm just saying.
It sounds very whiny, Gen X-y.
No, but it's current. It's occurring. They're showing the data on the websites.
Whatever. I don't know. Maybe because I don't know. I'm not going to say anything. It's going to get me in trouble. About today's men. All right. So we'll be back.
You'll be back.
That was a long set.
Hey, welcome back. We're winding down our beverages here. And for those of you who are new to our show,
what are you doing?
What are you doing? What are you? Nothing else to watch? MASH reruns? Tim and I give each other viewing assignments. So we have historically had similar interests in movies, TV, things like that. And Tim and I used to live together, and now that we don't, Tim is watching stuff that I'm unaware of, and I'm watching stuff Tim is unaware of, and so we intermittently give each other stuff to go home and watch. And the assignment that I gave Tim to watch was the new series on Netflix regarding the original Resident Evil video game.
Well, yeah, but it takes place present day
in Raccoon City,
after the old Raccoon City.
So,
if you're familiar with Resident Evil, the video game took place. It was in 1998, and I'm not spoiling alert, but because it's from 1998, so it was. They created zombies and mutated dogs and crazy things, and then eventually they had to nuke the whole city.
Right, but the interesting thing about
Umbrella
this,
Corporation. It was a pharmaceutical company that was trying to hide this outbreak.
For those of you who are not game people, Capcom, the game company, released this game in 1998, and since then it has become one of the most prolific gaming franchises ever.
Mila Jovovich was the movies.
So there's been now, I don't know, 7 or 8 different versions of the video game. There's been at least a half dozen movies. So this is like a multi-billion-dollar.
But it's cool because it's not rebooting anything. It's just kind of continuing
carrying on the story, which is kind of neat.
With this new show, and
so
it was good.
What's funny is I only watched 1 or 2 and thought it was cool and sent it to him, and he watched the whole thing.
I started watching it. I'm thinking, oh crap! I love Walking Dead. It just ended. I'm kind of done with zombies. So the first episode, I'm like, it's just a new take on different kinds of zombies. It really wasn't doing it for me. My wife wanted to keep watching it, so we watched another episode. Okay, getting a little better. Then we watched the third episode. All right, now I'm into it. So we wound up watching the whole season.
Watched the whole thing.
Season 1. Now we want season 2 to come out. But it's good, and I like the way they, the idea, they do like, they flashback, and then they have present day, and they keep going back and forth. Like,
Yeah, it is.
It was interesting how they were.
And by the way, in
back
case
and
you're
forth.
wondering, that's how Tim dances.
Just like Trump.
Um,
So yeah, so it was good.
Yeah, and I
and
appreciate
looking
the
forward to
kind of historical reference. So there's like key characters
to the video game.
to the video game from 30 years ago, and they still reference.
And there's
the
a lot of
characters.
cool new twists.
It's neat.
But he doesn't know about it because he only watched 3 episodes.
Yeah,
so I wound up
watch
watching.
So I don't want to watch the whole thing.
I
yet,
watched the
but-
whole season.
yeah.
So you gotta watch the whole season.
So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, check it out.
Netflix, yeah.
Check it out.
So I back a couple episodes ago, Russ watched an episode of the new Grand Tour, or what was new a couple years back, which was the prime version of Top Gear with the 3 guys, Clarkson, May, and Hammond, evaluating cars and whatnot. And I told him that first episode was kind of just like an intro, that it gets better, and that there are some where they go out into the world. And I said, there's really one good episode that's really good. And it was, they actually get dropped in Mongolia, China.
Yeah, they have to cross the Mojave Desert.
No, it's not a desert. It's somewhere in Mongolia.
No, but they have to go across. Like
yeah,
that.
they have to get from this point. They're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
They have to get to the closest town, which is like 300 miles away.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
And they drop a box from a plane, and they didn't know about this. They had to build the car. It was a kit car, a 4-wheel drive kit, and they had to build it, and then they had to drive it to the town. And they had a crew, of course, that follows them along, that videotapes them, but it was legitimately, it was funny, and it was adventurous, and it was like, they were at one point, they were ready to like just quit, you can tell. So what'd you think
the
of that
episode was entitled "Survival of the Fattest." Okay,
Because they're all old, out of shape.
Yeah. So
they're like our age,
so
older.
All things being equal, Tim is addicted to this show.
I
He
love
loves
this
this show, right? So he puts it up here. Now, this particular episode was drastically better than the other one that I watched. It was enjoyable. It was entertaining. You kind of get a sense of the characters and kind of how they interplay with each other. I'm just still confused as to how popular this show is. Like, it was okay. Like, it's a neat show. I watched it. It was neat. I got a giggle out of it. It's kind of cool. Okay. But the part that I don't get is like, this is like a global phenomenon television show. Like, a gazillion people watch this, and I just don't get it. Like, I mean, it was a fun show.
So you're
to
not
watch.
interested in watching more?
No, it's interesting. No, I'm not saying that. It is an interesting
that's
show.
the thing. You're getting it down the line. I'm showing you Grand Tour. This is like
right.
way down the line from
It
where
is
they
an
started.
interesting
You need to
show.
go back, and if you really like the show, you can go back and watch all the old Top Gear.
Yeah.
And like I said, and as you start watching them, and you don't have to be a car lover.
No,
enjoy
the characters
the
have.
scenery, the imagery, and the cinematography is amazing.
It was a little crazy. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It was
they
neat.
really do a good job on filming it.
I just
and seeing all these exotic places that these idiots are going to.
Yeah, it's
and
it was
it's
something.
fun.
I'm not gonna lie. Like again, I think Tim did a good job. You don't have to be a car person to enjoy the show, although it is helpful. Trying to watch
not
them,
this particular episode because it was just like
but they had to assemble a
we
vehicle.
have 2 of them did.
Yeah,
And what's his name? Clarkson doesn't know much about the actual building of cars,
Yeah.
so he's like making lunch and screwing that up.
Yeah,
So
it's an entertaining show. I enjoyed it.
that's what it's
I enjoyed
supposed to
it.
be. It's
But
supposed to be.
I just don't get.
Why are you analyzing it though? Stop
Because, no,
overthinking
because,
it.
like,
you
how
sit
is
there,
this-
you watch it, you
No,
laugh.
I just watched it and go like, how do these guys get this budget? Like, I don't
It's
understand.
like, wasn't it amazing that little kit car?
It reminds
made
me-
it all that way.
You know,
It didn't
let me-
fail.
Here's the
That was
parallel.
Amazing.
Here's the parallel that I will draw, right? Because I thought about this after I watched the show. It would be the same thing as me having someone watch Jackass, having never heard of the show Jackass. And it's just these schmucks that are like tasering themselves in the nuts.
Right.
And you're going, why is this
Why?
a $75 million budget for this film, right? So is it entertaining? Of course it is. It's an enjoyable show.
Right.
But I don't grasp the...
Well, it's like Napoleon Dynamite. When that movie came out, it's like a car accident. You can't look away. You got to keep watching.
That's a bit of a cult movie, and I get that. Yeah, I think.
But why was it so big and popular?
Yeah,
when it came out, because it wasn't.
But if you like that kind of stuff, go check it out. I thought it was neat. I thought it was
entertaining. It's a good show. I thought you would like it more.
Thank you.
Response.
I did enjoy it. No, I enjoyed it. It was a fun show.
But wasn't it amazing that little car?
It was neat. I was a little surprised. They're trying to go up the hill. They have to go.
No, they were hopping.
I know, but then they had to realize they had to go side by. They had to like serpentine
it was
up the hill.
It hopped all the way.
No, I saw
the
that.
whole thing?
Yeah, I saw that. And they had to get to those hills. They had to figure out something with the trains. I don't know what happened. It was banging.
Yeah, but the hopping actually helped them get up over.
Right, but there was multiple times like in the desert that they had to turn the car sideways. The dunes, because they were bouncing up the
and then they flipped it in the bottom.
Yeah, they did a bunch.
And when they got stuck, when they were going through, that thing made it through the river.
Yeah, it was.
And they just had to move a rock.
It was a little surprising how the freaking car remained in one piece.
And they were laughing because the crew car got stuck, and the kid car pulled the crew car.
I remember at one point, didn't they have to take leftover wood to make mud flaps or something because they kept getting. When the tires were spinning, they made mud flaps out of the packaging.
They were filthy.
Yeah,
oh my God.
So it was ingenious. It was creative. It was cute. It was a cool show. The characters are interesting and fun. And
then they got the end. They saw the pub.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, Valhalla.
But it was closed.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying but there was this build.
It was closed a lot.
It was this build up because they're English. They like beer.
Yeah,
they like
just wanted to get to a beer.
Yeah. So.
All right, well,
I did enjoy it.
I have what do you have for me for this week?
Yeah, I don't know.
We have one more episode. That's it. This is 9.
We're only doing 10?
Yeah, 10's it. Yeah. I'm retiring until summer.
At least a little while. We'll give it a break.
So...
Do you have something you want to watch?
I do have something.
Go ahead.
Great. Do you watch The Big Bang Theory?
I don't.
I knew that. I am addicted to this show. This is like I have a couple shows that help me go to sleep. Background shows. I watch it at night. Mm-hmm. It used to be The Honeymooners.
Yep.
I used to love watching The Honeymooners. Like when I was asleep, I've seen every episode.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was MASH.
Love MASH.
I love MASH. To that point, I never liked it growing up, but I love it now. And it's like one of those shows. I always have like DVRs of it. So if I'm nothing on, I'm just throwing MASH.
It's on. MASH is on Hulu.
I have all the episodes.
Yeah.
So. The Big Bang is recently, I've always watched them new, but now they have the reruns. There's 10 seasons, so there's like so many of them. And now I got Brody, my son, he's 9. Even though it's not always appropriate content, but he's into like seeing the changes from characters. How their character developed over 10 years. Mm-hmm. So he went back and he's watching like from episode 1 to all the...
Just watching the guys get older.
And he's watching them how their characters change. He's intrigued on the acting aspect.
Yeah, that's neat.
So, but I have a specific episode.
Oh boy, okay.
It's one episode. I picked that specifically for you to watch. I'm going to give you the episode, and I want you to tell me what you think. I think it's one of the funniest episodes.
I will absolutely.
You don't have to know the characters or anything for this particular episode. Okay. All you need to know is it's a bunch of nerds that have PhDs.
No,
they're very, very smart.
I know roughly, yeah.
Penny is just this blonde.
The hot girl that lives next door.
The girl lives next door. Yep. That's it. For this particular episode, that's all you need. You don't need any backstories or anything, and then that's it. And
you'll give me the episode.
It's hysterical. It's the one where they're for those of you who watch the show, when they're in the desert watching what's the shooting stars
not the Aurora Borealis.
The shooting star, Leonid or shooting stars. Anyway, they're in the desert for this shooting star.
Check it out.
And it's a really funny episode.
Absolutely. Did you watch The Office when it was on?
I watched a couple episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, not a big fan.
I'm a huge fan of The Office.
I've seen it.
You've watched all the episodes? Because I'm going to give you an episode.
Okay, go ahead and give me an episode.
All right.
But you should give it to me another time. So you want me to do The Office?
Yeah, I'll give you an Office episode.
I'll give you a specific
this will be something we can do.
So. A specific episode of Big Bang.
For you Office people, everybody has their favorite seasons. My favorite season is 2. But James Spader came on towards the end to take the place
It's
of
funny,
Steve
the
Carell.
guy, what's the guy who, the main character?
Steve Carell.
Not Steve Carell, the other guy in the office with the girl, it was the relationship.
Oh, Jim Pan, the guy that plays
What's
Jim.
his name though?
Oh, the actor that plays Jim.
He was
oh
in
my gosh, my wife will
the
kill
movie
me.
with the aliens.
Yeah, yep.
And he's now in another show that's really good, which I'm probably gonna.
You make me look it up.
Is Tom Clancy's?
He's become like John Krasinski.
Yeah, he plays Jack Ryan.
Yeah, he's gotten into the whole
Have you
action
seen
thing.
Jack Ryan?
I've seen it, yeah.
That's a good show.
Yeah.
It's espionage. It's
No, I know all that. Yeah,
before
he
Red
kind of
October.
gone from this. He was just sort of this comedic guy. Now he's just
Yeah,
like
he's
action
doing
dude.
really, really.
That's
good.
what I hear. Yeah, he's doing really well at it.
Well, that's it for us, folks. We'll see you one more episode in a few weeks, and then we'll
End of season 1.
end of season 1. And if we get some response from you guys, maybe we'll be back for season 2. But please go online on YouTube and send us comments. What we can do better.
We're intermittently on TikTok.
Here and there, mostly
Mostly on YouTube.
or in our podcast,
In our podcast.
all the major podcasts,
Left, right,
Left, and Blue.
Thank you guys.
So yeah, thanks for a great almost first season.
The beer glasses are getting empty, and
It will be empty in about 3 seconds. So
mine's empty.
till next time, folks.
Thanks, guys.